Thank you. I have a question for Mr. Uppal, and perhaps we could get Mr. Szostak's reaction. Mr. Uppal, given that there's no plan for a national birthday party in 2017 to celebrate Canada's 150th birthday, and given that Expo 2017 would have focused world attention on energy and energy research to the benefit of all Albertans, and given that Mr. Harper spent $1.2 billion in 72 hours on a Conservative riding in Ontario, if you're such an influential member of the Harper team, could you explain where you were when the Expo 17 funding was discussed? And Mr. Szostak, I guess you're part of the question. I don't want you to explain where Mr. Uppal was and why his voice carried no weight, but perhaps you could tell us what a Liberal government would do to help us move energy forward in Alberta.
And here I thought it was going to be a question about a birthday party.
Yeah, Tim. Started off that way. It sounded nice. The question is regarding Expo 2017 and where were the Edmonton members. Most of the Edmonton team, the Edmonton and region team, we agreed with 2017. It was, in general, a pretty good idea, and we met with a lot of people and people that support us that agreed with this idea. We agreed with probably the attention that it would bring to the region and some of maybe the important things that it would have highlighted. What we could not agree with at this time was the extremely huge price tag. It was $1 billion price tag. It was a 3-month or a 3-month plan to have this event for 3 months. The departments that were involved, whether it's public safety and others, looked at it and said this was going to be $1 billion. We just could not support this in all good conscience, and that is when we also agreed with the Prime Minister that the federal government would not be supporting 2017. That's basically what happened.
Rick? One of the key things that a Liberal government will do better is actually talk to Canadians. You can't govern this complex country without actually going out and talking to Canadians. We see during the campaign that the leader of the Liberal Party holds open town halls, and the leader of the Conservative Party doesn't even let non-approved reporters ask questions. So, yes, there was a big price tag on the 2017 bid, and I can't swear what a Liberal government would have decided. It is a lot of money. But we would have thought, first of all, that yes, Michael Ignatius has been talking for years that we need to celebrate this wonderful country's 150th birthday. I am just old enough to remember how much Expo 67 was a part of our 100-year celebration, and can well appreciate how wonderful it would have been to have had an Expo in Western Canada as the centerpiece of our 150th birthday celebration. So you've got to think about the benefits that come, that we should celebrate our birthday, that an Expo gets us international attention, that it could have been a wonderful opportunity to try to convince the world that we actually do care about our environment and are doing useful things to try to deal with the environmental problems that go along with the oil sands. What I can never understand is how a government could come back and simply say no. If the price tag is too high, you come back and say, well, maybe we could afford a little bit less. But there was none of that. What I understand from the 2017 bid people is there was months and months of silence and then a no. That's not conversation. That's not governance. That's not the way a Liberal government would have handled it. If, after we'd added up everything, and you must remember that some of this price tag that Tim talks about is stuff that would get done anyway. Okay, some of it, yes, is just temporary expenditures, which they're willing, as was mentioned, to spend on a party in Ontario, but they're not willing to spend on a party in Alberta. But some of it would be infrastructure spending that we're going to do anyway. So you don't just look at this $1 billion price tag and say, oh, wow, that's really big. You look, well, how much of that would we be spending anyway? How much is left over? How much is the goodwill of the world and the tourism that would come and all these benefits to Canada that would come worth? And then if those numbers aren't the same, you come back and say, well, we can't afford this, but we could afford that. You don't just come back and say, no, go home. That's just not good governance. Thank you.